Hey guys, this is Matt and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about 3 easy do-it-yourself turkey hunting projects for under $30. We're going to do this in under 30 minutes. Most of these projects are made from things that a lot of us turkey hunters would just have around our house anyways. But if you had to buy them, I'd guess it'd be under $30. Our first project's just going to be an easy 3D turkey target. If you're subscribed, you've seen me shoot these before in the past.
Okay, so step number 1, your turkey is going to come, it's going to be flat. It's going to be all balled up like this when you get it, and it's going to want to stay that way. Now, what you need to do is get yourself 3 small twigs. I'd say 2 of them about 2.5 inches, and 1 of them roughly 3.5 inches. You're going to open your turkey decoy up. So you're going to get right inside here like so, like you're going to gut him. You're going to take one of your short sticks. You're going to go straight back to where the tail feathers start on this decoy, and you're going to pin that in there sideways. So it holds the back out like this. Then you're going to go to your biggest stick, your 3.5 incher. You're going to go to the middle, right between the wings. I would say right about where the wing bones would be. And you're going to pin that in there. Next thing you're going to do is go way up by the neck here. You can see in there this is opening up. You're going to take your other 2.5 incher. You're going to go way up here by the neck, and you're going to pin that open as well. Now you have the rough shape of an actual turkey, except for you're completely hollow. Okay, so we got our turkey decoy, and he's all pinned up, so he's hollowed out inside. You're going to want to shake your can of spray foam really well. I've been shaking this for a while now, but you want to make sure these are good and shaken up. Another thing is you're going to want to do this outside because some of this stuff can be pretty fumy. You're obviously not wanting to breathe in a bunch of nasty fumes. What you're going to do is you're going to use the nozzle on here, and you're going to use the spray stick that comes with it so you can reach way in there. You're going to start in the back, and don't go overboard with this. Because what will end up happening if you try to go too much at one time, it's gonna not dry completely in there, and you're gonna end up with a bunch of this sticky, nasty stuff all over your arrows when you try to shoot through it. So we're gonna start back here by the tail. We're just gonna go a little bit in there. We're gonna go right down basically where the backbone would be of this turkey. Straight line. It doesn't matter if you cover up that little hole where your sticks would normally go. And then you're going to fill up his neck and head area here. Now, like I said, don't go too heavy on that. So when you start off, see in here, you're going to only want about that much in there. You can see that's not very much, but it's going to continue to expand and expand and expand. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to keep this turkey opened up, try not to get this foam all over the outside of this bird, and I'm just going to spray about 1 inch thick all the way around the inside of this turkey now that I got a line established on the back. And it's giving me a rough idea how thick I need to spray this. Like I said, don't go overboard on this. Okay, so you should have about half a can left. Now she's coated on the inside. We're gonna let this sit until it cures. It probably varies can to can. I like to let this sit a couple hours out in the sun and the breeze, and it's usually pretty darn good. So we're just gonna set this down and wait. All right guys, so we've let this sit for a couple hours and she's good and firm. As you can see, we purposely left room because she filled up, or I guess he's a Jake, he filled up quite a bit. So now we're going to take our remaining foam, shake it up really good, and we're going to fill in any gaps basically. It doesn't matter if this bubbles out the bottom a little, we can clean that up later. Now these work good. I've shot these quite a bit with arrows, and they actually hold up pretty darn good. I bet you could get 2 seasons out of these. Some dirty stuff on my spout here. All right, so same thing. We're gonna just fill in any of the gaps. There's one more thing that I like to do. This might be the most important part, because if not, you'll end up with ooey gooey arrows, you know, nice and sticky when you shoot through it. Now, everything that the air doesn't get to is not going to want to dry really well. So, what we're going to do is we're going to purposely poke holes down the back of this so that air can get to this. You can use a sharp end of a stick. But as you can see, it's still soft in the middle. So we're going to poke some holes in there. Let the air get in there. You're not going to be able to notice these punctures. So I just take the end of a stick. I'll put 3 or 4 of them down the back of this. Alright, just to make sure we're full, you can notice I made these holes down the back of this bird, right down the spine. We're going to take our spout, shove it in these holes. Fill those up. Try not to make too big of a mess if you can help it. We'll try to clean as much of this off while it's wet, while it's gooey. Don't get this on your hands or any of your clothes. This stuff does not come off. I'm just going to use this stick here. We're going to let this guy sit upside down overnight just to make sure everything's dry. I honestly would recommend letting this sit for 48 hours before you shoot an arrow into it. So I'll see you guys in 48 hours. Realistically, I'm going to see you tomorrow. I just don't have that much time to wait to make this video. But you guys make sure you wait 48 hours. Alright guys, so we got our turkey. He's completely stuffed full of foam. See that? He's good and puffed out. He's ready to be shot at. So what we're gonna do is I put this guy on a string. Now the reason I do that is because I like to be able to shoot at moving targets. I've mentioned that on another video, but it's gonna allow this turkey to be able to come at me forward like this. I can shoot at him broadside. I can shoot at him walking away, quartering away. This turkey is gonna blow around in the wind because he's made out of foam. The exterior's foam, everything I put in him's foam. He's gonna be really light. So even the slightest breeze is gonna move this guy around, which is exactly what I want. And we're gonna see if he can take some arrows. I got my blinds set up. I got a hunting weight bow here. I think this bow's 60 pounds. Probably closer to 65 at my draw. And I got some wooden arrows. We're gonna shoot at him. Okay guys, as you can see, that first shot was absolutely a killer, but there might be 2.5 inches poking out the other side of this, so this stops arrows fairly well. Like I said, this is a $30 3D target, so it's not like you're gonna expect any miracles out of it, but it catches arrows, it holds arrows, the arrows pull out fairly easy. So I think, you know, for 30 bucks, this is pretty good practice, and hopefully it helps you guys get ready for turkey season.
Our second project's just a single wall movable brush blind. These things are great and you can move them anywhere.
Alright, for our next project, all you're going to need is a cheap roll of twine. I think you can pick this up for just over $5. I think this was actually $8. You can get this Family Farm and Home, probably any craft store, Tractor Supply. It's just basically a very small baling twine. It's super durable though, so it will hold together good, but it's made out of natural material, so if you leave this in the woods, it's going to deteriorate over time. And the only other thing you're going to need is a hatchet. I'm purposely using this cheap hatchet. Be careful with these, folks. They make these cheap hatchets. You can pick them up for like 10 or 12 bucks, but these sheaths are junk. I don't want you guys reaching for this and getting cut or anything. I've done it in the past. And these saplings behind me is going to be our frame for this. and you can usually throw one of these together in under 2 hours. I've used them, they work great. They're not necessarily a blind that's going to keep you out of the elements per se. I mean, it does keep the wind off you, but what it's going to do is cause the turkeys to be able to not pick you out, period. These things blend into the woods so good. I think you guys are really going to like this one. All right, folks, so the first part to this is we're going to need 2 saplings that kind of bend in a half moon, and you'll see why later. But these ones are roughly 1 inch in diameter and they bend about perfect, so we're going to go ahead and use those. It really doesn't matter what your materials are. Just don't pick something that is that you're allergic to. Don't pick, you know, Shumax. Try to stay away from the poison ivies. If you don't know what you're allergic to and what you're not allergic to, you might want to find that out before you just go rummaging through the thick brush, because a lot of that poison oaks and Shumax and stuff really like to hang out in the thick brush. This stuff I know is not, so we're going to pick these saplings right here, and those are the first 2 you're going to need, 2 of them in a half moon. All right, now the next thing you're going to need, got some noisy geese here flying over me. The next thing you're going to need is 2 reasonably straight sticks of saplings about the same size, roughly 1 inch in diameter, and try to get 5 foot out of them if you can, just so you can be a little bit picky about where you position them. All right, guys, now while you're doing this, I want to mention something else while I'm cutting these out of here. Keep your hands away from these hatchets. Keep your hand up here out of the way, and always cut away from you. Get on the back side of this tree, so if you happen to miss or anything, that hatchet's not coming anywhere near your body. But as you can see, it don't take long to get these. It's not hard. Always cutting away from yourself, and clean these up. Clean all the little kickers off of this. This doesn't take long. So what you want to end up with is some straight poles, basically. Well, these ones are not going to be straight. These ones are the ones that I purposely picked out that are a half moon shape. Okay, so what we're going to do, because this has a split in it, we're going to go ahead and just leave that in there. We're going to leave these 2 branches here on there. It's still in that half moon shape. It's going to work just fine. Now we're going to move on to our straight poles. These really don't have much on them, so we're going to go ahead and clean those up. Even when you're using cheap tools, guys, I always recommend that you use something sharp. Dull tools is how you end up getting hurt. Anytime you're struggling to use something, that's where you're going to end up getting hurt. So like I say, even though this is a cheap $10, $12 hatchet here, I still make sure these have a good edge on them. That way I'm not struggling. Last thing I want to do is hurt myself when I'm trying to have fun. All right, so that's that. We're going to move on to the next step. All right, the next step is you're going to take your 1 straight stick. You guys can't see it on the camera here. You're going to take your 1 straight stick, you're going to put it on the ground in front of you. You're going to lay it as flat as you can. Now you're going to take your curved sticks, your half moon sticks, and you're going to figure out on that stick on the ground where they bend the best and when they're the most natural, okay? You're going to try to get a good uniformed look here. I can see one of these is bending more than the other, so all I'm going to do is take my knee, I'm going to press it into this stick. I'm not going to break it, but these are green, so you can just use a little pressure and bend these. Just bend it the shape that you want, basically. These are, like I say, mostly pre-bent anyway. just to make it easier on me, we're gonna go ahead and bend this a little more. Okay, I got a rough idea about where I want these. We're gonna mark it. We're gonna use our hatchet for that. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a mark in both sides of this. I'm gonna put a mark on this one. I'm going to put a mark on this one. Okay, now we're going to tie this together with the twine just to get started. Okay, so I have these marked roughly where I want them. We're going to go ahead and take some twine here. And we're going to tie these off. I don't care what kind of knot you use. It's really not important as long as it holds. We're not building a castle here, folks. We're just building a simple brush blind. So go ahead and tie these together. Any knot you want, that'll hold. I personally like a good amount of lashings around it. I suppose if you were using a better material than this, you could get away with less. I have a knot here that I personally can get undone if I need to. Okay, now you should have these two sticks together, a little bit of overhang on both sides, a knot in the middle. Alright, so I had to back you guys up quite a ways here to hopefully get most of this in camera. But you're going to need some twine, couple feet will be fine. Okay, make sure that your post that's going to be on the ground is at the flattest point that it's going to be able to get to, because you want that to be able to lay on the ground really nice. Take a piece of twine. Remember, I already have the tops of these tied. We're going to take this, we're going to pull it in. I'm giving myself roughly a foot of play on the back side of this just in case I need to adjust later. Same thing, I don't care what kind of knot you guys use. I know that a lot of the outdoor freaks are really serious about their knots. As long as you got some good lashings, and it's a knot that you can get undone if you have to, if you got to adjust it, then you're going to be fine. We're just going to move on to the other side and do the same thing. Make sure you're mindful of where your hatchet is. Don't kneel down on that. Alright, now you should have kind of a funny triangle, basically, so to speak. Kind of a rounded triangle. We're going to move on to the next step. Alright, our next step is we're going to pick this thing up. Should look like an oblong triangle. I got my other straight stick here. We're going to move these around, adjust them the best we can. This don't have to be perfect. Like I said, it's just a hunting blind. It's not a living quarters. Now, when I cut the ends of these, I purposely cut them. If you've seen while I was cutting them, I cut them at an angle so there'd be basically stakes that I could put in the ground. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to roughly put them in the ground. Just like so. This is going to be your main frame here. Now you're going to take this and you're going to use this on two separate pieces if it's long enough. If not, no big deal. You got about 1,000 more saplings if you need one that is long enough. Now you're going to measure two measurements here. You're going to get one measurement that's going to help bow this out a little bit. And you're going to make a mark on both sides of your stick. One side you really should just bring over. This has got a pre-notch in it, so I'm just going to go ahead and use that. I don't know if you can see that, but it was where the T was. I'm going to stick that in here. You don't want this too high. You want to be able to shoot over this eventually. So don't put this in a position up here where you're going to have to try to miss it with your arrow. You want this down a little bit lower. We're going to purposely bend that out a little bit. Bend this out. Be careful with your hatchet and make a mark. As you can see these marks fairly well. Hopefully you can see that on camera, but they stick out like a sore thumb once you take the bark off. Now we're going to tie this up and cut off any excess. Okay, so we got our cross bracing reasonably short. It fits in here good. We're going to lash this end of it in first, and I'll explain that in just a second, but I went ahead and I saved the rest of this. I'll explain that later as well. So for now, like I said, don't go too high up in here where you're going to be shooting. Get a rough idea of where this fits in there the best, and just lash this. Alright, so unfortunately it looks like we're about ready to get rained out. That doesn't matter, hopefully it passes fast. So I'm going to try to go through this next step as quick as possible. I took the top of this one that I said to keep, and we're going to put that right somewhere close to the middle. This does not have to be perfect. I know there's probably folks on here that are just cringing by how ugly this thing is right now. A lot of bushcraft and making blinds and shelters and stuff, pretty is important. I say pretty, but how it looks is important, because a lot of times if something looks nice, it's going to hold up well. This is just a hunting blind. It really does not have to hold up to anything but more than 3 weeks of the outdoors. That's it. That's all you're looking to get out of this. Like I said, guys, you built this thing in about an hour. It's not the Taj Mahal. And that hatchet in the dirt, which I'm not supposed to do. So you should have basically a window here, and on bottom you got it roughly across in the middle with an ugly looking triangle on top. Now, we purposely saved all the tops and things. You probably thought I was gone, didn't you? So we're going to take these. I don't care if you weave these. I don't care how you do it. If you lash them, not important. Okay guys, this took about 5 minutes. I got some tall grass and some greenage here that we're going to incorporate to fill this blind in so you can't see through it. Once again, it's going to rain on me, so I'm going to do a little bit of this just to show you how to do it, but then I'm going to have to put the camera up because I can't be having my equipment getting destroyed. Then I won't be able to make you guys any more videos. As you can see, I did put a little bit of pine in here as well. Pine stays green for a long time.
So people have been making brush blinds like this since the beginning of time. They're just easy, efficient, great tools to use in the field. Great concealment. You can move them anywhere and make them blend into their environment. I've killed a lot of stuff out of a blind like this, and I'm sure many other folks have as well. So our third project's just going to be a simple clover patch. These things work great for turkeys, but you might as well keep them around for deer season as well.
So we got our turkey 3D target, we got our hunting blind. Now we need a spot to hunt, right? And if you're a property owner like myself that doesn't have a lot of property, you got to figure out some ways to get some turkeys to your property. I'm in a clover patch that I planted right now. This comes back. You only have to plant this once. This is why I'm suggesting this. Turkeys love hanging out in this stuff. I don't know if they are more into the critters that like to hang out in it, or they're more into eating it, but they actually do both. So this is just regular clover. You can pick this up at any feed mill. Go closer and show you here. Focus. So this is just regular old clover. This might cost, to do everything you see behind me, probably 10 bucks, 12 bucks. A little bit of this goes a long way. Preparation's absolutely super easy. All you have to do, till the soil. You don't even gotta till it. I used a box drag on this. You can box drag the soil, get out most of the grass, literally just broadcast this stuff, and it comes in perfect. You know, as long as your soil conditions are right, it's gonna come in perfect. It doesn't have to be you know, a 30-acre field. You can just plant, I think I have not even half an acre here, but due to property lines, they can see from the field behind me, they can see this, and it's just inviting to them. So something that simple and that cheap can definitely help you out in turkey season.
There's been a lot of turkeys that died in clover fields and hay fields. If you guys want to see how this turkey met his end, go ahead and click the video on the side of your screen. I'd like to take a second and thank all you guys that have already subscribed, and I appreciate all your support. It's just phenomenal that the hunting community can come together and help each other out the way that we do. And I really hope that you guys enjoy your turkey season this year. But most of all, just enjoy yourselves. Have a good time. Thanks for watching.